Okay, so hello, my name is Nicola Thompson. I am the subject lead for early years studies at West Suffolk College. We're here this evening to take any questions you have about any of the levels on the early years studies. We offer a number of courses that we're going to explain to you about this evening, and we're very open to any questions you have on those. I'd like to first of all introduce some of my amazing team. So first of all, I'd like to pass you over to Teresa Jarvis, and she can just explain what she does on the course. Okay,
Hi.
Teresa.
Hi, I run the level 2 childcare at the college, but I teach across most of the courses, right from the level 1 childcare to the level 2, level 3, and to the degree in childhood studies. So it's really nice that we get to know all of the students, you know, for a long period of time. They often stay with us, and we get to build a relationship, which is nice for them and nice for us. And that's basically what I do. That and a few other 100 things.
Thank you, Teresa. So I'd like to pass you over to Angela Jarrett now.
Hello, my name's Angela Jarvis. I'm the work placement coordinator for the level 2's childcare course, the level 3 childcare course, and soon to be the new T levels that will start in September. I organise your work placements, I liaise between the settings and yourselves, and I also come out and assess you while you're in your work placements. And I oversee all things to do with your work experience while you're at West Suffolk College.
Okay, thank you, Angela. So as you can see, you know, we've got some well-experienced lecturers and teachers on our team. We also have Jo Renshaw-Fox, who isn't with us this evening, but she is another one of our teachers on the team that teaches across the levels. And we also have Natasia Scott-Opuka, who is our course director for Childcare Level 1 at the moment, but she also teaches across the levels. So we're a very close team. We all work very closely together and we teach across the board. So as Teresa said, we also teach on the degree programme. So for those of you that are thinking of going on later on to maybe do a degree, I know that seems a long way away at the moment, but it will soon come round. So when you finish your qualifications with us, some of you might like to go on to the early childhood studies degree, and you've got that consistency of us as your teachers. So you know, it's a really lovely feed through all the way from level 1 to level 6 if you wanted to stay with us that long. So as I say, we're a very tight team, and we're there to support you all the way through. Okay, so I'd like to see if anyone's got any questions.
We've got some questions
to start with.
Yeah, published already.
I can't see those actually.
If you put it under, if you click on published, it's what is the difference between T levels and the level 2 and level 3 courses. It's
I can't see that.
under published. Have you not got questions and answers open?
I haven't got it either.
Okay. Got it open, but I've got no questions, it says at the side at the moment.
Okay, well,
if you click on publish,
yes, we've got it.
I can see it now. Yep.
Okay, lovely.
So the
thank you.
level 2 and level 3 courses, I can tell you the difference between those. They are, it's down to the qualification, your GCSE results. The level 2 is going to give you a GCSE standard of qualification at the end of it, and will enable you to be an assistant really in a setting. At the end of 1 year, you'll be able to either go on and do the level 3, because you might think to yourself, actually, I really want to go for it, and I've done really well on the level 2, and I want to go for a level 3 because at the end of the day, it's going to give you more money. It will also give you more responsibility. And some people, you know, really want to go for the most they can while they're young, and they've got that time on their hands to get as qualified as they can. Whether you come on the level 2 and level 3 will depend on your GCSE results. The level 3 is going to give you a license to practice, the same as the level 2, but it's A-level standard, and it was more likely to make you a room leader. It will give you higher UCAS points, which enables you to go on to a degree, and it just gives you a different level of responsibility, really. Level 2 is 1 year, level 3 is 2 years. Over to you guys, what the difference is between the T-levels.
So the T-level is a 2-year course. And again, as Teresa said, it gives you the equivalent of those 3 A-levels. So you have to really be quite committed on the T-level to cover those 2 years. So you would be in college for 3 days and in your work placement for 2 days a week. The same as the level 3 childcare course as well. So the T-level is, the T-level is very similar to the level 3 that we already offer, which is the National Extended Diploma. So it comes very close to it. But the difference really is with the T-level, you are looking at really focusing on becoming an early years educator. So it's going into that sector, whether you want to go on later on, as Teresa said, to be a practitioner, or if you want to go on later and become a teacher or something in the education sector. Where with the level 3 National Extended Diploma, the difference there is that you can go into different fields of work. So you might want to go into psychology, or you might want to go into a different route with that one. So that opens up other doors as well. So they're very, very similar, but the T-level is very much focused on being an early years educator. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Angela for the next question, because that's about DBS checks, please.
Yep. The answer to this question, will I need a DBS check? The answer is yes. It's a legal requirement for anybody that's working with children or vulnerable people to have a DBS. Now, because it's part of your course, the college will pay for this, but you need to have documents for a college to help you get apply for your DBS. You will need to have evidence, either a driving license, a passport, or a birth certificate. But when you first start at the college, I will give you a list of documents that you require. It's not the college that require them, it's the DBS organisation that they stipulate that you know certain documents. But you don't need to worry about this too much now. Your very first week, I'll give you a list of required documents that you will be asked to produce at a certain date. But if you want to get ahead of yourself, if you want to check where your birth certificate is, that you have a passport in date, if you have copy birth certificates, sometimes this can slow down the process. But if your copy is with months of your birth, we need something else from category 1. So how we've got around that this year is students have applied for driving licenses. So if you're coming up to the age of 16, you might want to apply for your driving license now, then you've got this ready for when you start in September. But first of all, that you need the very first week you start in college, and the DBS is at no cost to you. It is a requirement for your course. It will last for the 2 years or 1 year, however long your course is, it will last for that period of time, and the settings will accept that as well.
Okay, thank you, Angela. So the next question is when will we get to meet our tutors? Well, obviously we'll be doing more live open events, so we will have more tutors on. But obviously this evening you're meeting myself and Teresa and Angela, who is your placement officer, as she said. But then we hope to get you in, so we would be doing an induction where you come in and meet the other students and meet your tutors. You know, going forward, we aim to actually have you back in college. I mean, the aim is that we will have those face-to-face meetings with you, but obviously dependence on COVID at the moment, we have to wait and see. how that goes forward. But you will definitely get an opportunity to meet your tutors before you actually start college. I think by before September, we're hopefully at a stage where we can get to see you and meet you face to face. Okay. The next question is, if I want to be a primary school teacher, what course do I do? You've got an option there, really. You can do the T level, which is very much aimed at going into the primary sector and becoming a teacher, or you can do the National Extended Diploma, and that's the BTEC National Extended Diploma. So they're both 2-year courses. They both cover very similar things, and they both lead you into becoming a primary school teacher. So then what you would do then is you would go on to do your degree in primary education, or you can do an early childhood studies degree and stay with us and then do your year of teacher training. But we can help you with that path. So definitely the T level or the National Extended Diploma. They're definitely the 2 qualifications to be going for if you want to be a primary school teacher. Somebody's then gone on to say about what are the entry requirements. So Teresa, would you like to just say about your entry requirement?
Well, you really need to have a 4 or 5 in English. The course is very academic. There's lots of written work. It's not because we don't want you to go on to the highest qualification you can get. We want you to be able to come on and find it comfortable. It's good to challenge yourself, but I think, it's also important to become confident while you're with us. And if you slightly miss that, if you don't get your 4 or 5 in English, then it might be better that you start off on the level 1. Just because that gives you a year to concentrate on your English and to go into practice. Settings want you to have English and maths, really. So if you came to me with 4 or 5 in English, then there'd be time on the timetable for you to improve on your maths, and that's why we put you into the groups, not for any other reason, just to give you the best chance, so that whenever you finish your qualification, you're employable. And that's what you need for the level 2, really. It doesn't matter if we're all, we all find some things harder than others. Maths are a challenge for me, but it's we want to give you the best chance to get those qualifications. So I'm really looking at a 4 or a 5 in English as the lowest sort of where I could consider you for the level 2.
Thank you, Teresa. And then with the level 3 and for the T level, we would like you to have your maths and English. So we need you to have that level. We like to have you at a level 5, really, with your maths and English. And something, if you want to be a primary school teacher, you need to also have your science. It's important to get your 4 or above in science as well. But as Teresa said, we don't put you on a level because we put you on that level because we want to know that it's not too much for you and that you can manage and cope. If we put you on a level 3 and you didn't have for example, your maths or your English, you've also got to have that work on top of all the other work, and it can just be too, we know from experience it's far too much for some of our students to cope with, where in the past we have trialled that, and it's very, very difficult. So we'd rather put you on that lower level to start with, and just give you that year to catch up and spend some time getting your maths and English, and to actually work and have a license to practice at level 3. It's a government requirement that you have the 4 or above in your maths and English. So that's really important. I'd like Angela to answer the next question, if possible. Yes. What activities and responsibilities would I have for work experience?
Okay, now this very much depends on the settings, but in general, you would be working alongside qualified practitioners. For the first week or 2, you might just be shadowing them, watching what they do and how they deal with certain things. Some settings may ask you to sit on the table and supervise the students while, for example, they're playing with Play-Doh or doing a craft activity. And it would lead up to you being able to suggest activities that you would like to implement while you're at the setting. But for the first few weeks, it would just be shadowing, watching what the staff do, and copying what they do. But leading up to you doing activity by yourself. You will always be supervised. There'll always be a qualified member of staff in the room with you at all times, or within shouting distance. So you would never be either outside with the children or inside in a room with the children without a qualified member of staff there with you. And then it's up to you, really. You can be as productive as you want. The settings really welcome students to make their own suggestions for activities around about Christmas time or Easter time. If you've got ideas of your own, a lot of the settings, if you give them a list of resources that you would like, they will provide the resources for you and make available an area for you to do this as well. The settings really welcome students to come up with their own ideas. So if you're artistically inclined, you can come up with as many things as you'd like to do. They would welcome you very much. And some settings have a forest school as well, so you can go outside and do things outdoors with them, and that appeals to some students, not to all, but it does appeal to some. So if you've got any ideas or you've got any suggestions, I'm sure most of the settings would welcome your suggestions.
Thank you, Angela. Teresa, would you like to just go over some of the units that we cover in the courses?
So on all of the courses, you're going to be looking at things like child development. That's important for regardless of what course you go on. There are very generic units that we do across all the levels. So as well as child development, you'll cover looking at the curriculum, because you need to know how how that works in the settings, what the practitioners will be looking for, the EYFS curriculum, which is for the under 5s, national curriculum. If you're working in schools, you'll look at health and safety, safeguarding, keeping children safe and yourself safe is really important part of all of the courses. Play is also in all of the courses. So there are a lot of things that you will cover, but depending on the level will depend on the depth you do. Working in partnership with parents. I'm just trying to think of anything I've missed out. Can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but they are the things that you will cover throughout.
The only other one I was going to say is we do the module on the working with children with additional needs as well, don't we? It's something else that we do have on our units. But we cover a number of units, as Teresa said. Those key ones go across the board. But then as you go into your second year, you take on some extra optional units, and we tend to gear those to what sort of students are really interested in. So working with children with additional needs is a really important one that we feel that lots of students want to go into that work sector. So it's a good unit to cover. But as Teresa said, mostly generic, going across the board, the child development. We also do one on communication, language and numeracy, which is something that is taught as part of an exam unit. So it's teaching you how to teach children literacy and numeracy. So it's not checking you, it's actually showing you and helping you learn how to teach children. So that's an important one as well. OK, thank you. So let's carry on. I've got a question there about somebody's applied to the course that's still not heard or received a response. If you can just contact the college again, they'll book you in for another interview. So apologies for that. So not quite sure what's happened there, but usually we have names through it. It may be that somebody couldn't get hold of you that tried to when you were booked in, or please, so we've got somebody responding to you there to sort that out for you. Thank you. OK, so moving on, do I have to come in for an interview? Well, at the moment, all of our interviews are online. So again, it's going to be phone call interviews at the moment, or it will be face-to-face over Teams, as we're doing this evening, until we're allowed to actually do real face-to-face in the college. So at the moment, that's what we're doing. We hope to do interviews face-to-face in the college in time again. That's our normal procedure. But at the moment, it all has to be over Teams. Okay. Will there be any adjustments being made for GCSEs due to COVID-19? Okay. For that one, really, we are governed by Ofqual and the government, so we have to be guided by them. There are adjustments going on at the moment. Nothing is set in stone, so we have to just wait and be guided by the Department for Education on this. So at the moment, you know, there are adaptations being made. So, for example, we have exams on our units. So, for example, for childcare, if you're in level 3 childcare, you would be expected to sit 2 exams in your first year. Well, when we went into lockdown last time, that couldn't happen. So the students had to produce lots and lots of evidence through their assignments and mock exams to have a predicted grade. So they will still actually sit papers in exam conditions, but it's then a predicted grade. However, going forward, we'll be back to sitting normal GCSEs again. So, okay, so what happens if I don't get my English or maths at GCSE? So at the college, we've got courses for everybody. So if you don't get the English and maths grade, as Teresa said, we will look at just putting you on the lower levels. So for example, if you needed to get the English or the maths, didn't quite get what you needed to come onto the course, we would start you on the level 1, and we would consider everything else you've done as well. So we would look at everything to support you, and then we would encourage you. So you would then do your English and maths at level 1, and then you would go on to your level 2 and level 3. Okay. What age groups are we likely to be placed with during the course? Angela, would you like to answer that one?
Yes, I will. With level 1 students, you don't have any mandatory work experience. With the level 2 students, you will have 1 work placement, and it will be working with under 5s. That's what the cash requirements say. The children have to be under 5s. Now, this can be in a nursery, a preschool, or an Ofsted registered childminder. It would be for 2 days a week, and it would last the whole year round. So that's for level 2s. You'd start as soon as you get your DBS through, which they done electronically, and they come through quite quickly. I would aim to have you all in placement at the latest for October half term. So from October until June, you would be 2 days a week working with under 5s if you're doing a level 2 course. Now, the level 3 course, you will have three different age groups you'll work with. Your first placement will be working with children between the ages of 2 and 5. This will be working in either a preschool, a nursery, or an Ofsted registered childminder. We'd be looking at you to start around about October again and continue with this age range until Easter. At Easter, I would look to move you to work with under 2s. Now, if you're already in a setting that is a full-time daycare nursery that has an under 2 room, you would just move to a different room. If you are in a preschool that don't have under 2s for your first placement, I would look at moving you, you'd have to move to a different setting. So some of you will be in one setting and do cover 2 age ranges in the first year, and some of you will be in 2 settings. Now, with the level 3s in your second year, you would have a work placement. It would be set up while you're in your first year to start in September, and you would be in a primary school working with children between the ages of 5 and 7 years 11 months. This would start in the September and continue at least until February half term. February half term, some of you, if you have a desire to work with children with additional needs, or you would like to go back to your nursery placement, we would look at moving your placement then. Those of you that are happy working with primary age children, we'd leave you there until the end of your course, which would be around between Easter and June, depending on your assignments and how many hours you've completed. Once you've completed the mandatory hours, which currently for the level 3s is 750, if you wanted to do hours working with children with additional needs, you could do this on top of that. Now that could be either in a special needs school, or it can be in a unit. Some schools have units, maybe for hearing impaired or autism specialist units. We'd look at moving you in your second year when you've done all your mandatory units. So it could be that you've got 2 placements over the course of 2 years, or it could be that you've got 3 or 4. It would very much depend on the settings that you choose to go into. We do give you a choice of what settings you'd like to go to. I work very closely with you. I ask you to come up with some ideas of settings that are nearby that you would like to go to. And I also have suggestions of settings that we've used many times in the past, are very keen to have students as well. So you don't need to worry about arranging your own placements. This is something I would do for you and with you. We'd work together on it.
Thank you, Angela. You've answered a couple of the questions there actually that have come up about the work experience. Where would they be? Do we arrange it ourselves? Okay. So you've already answered those questions. The one just before that, how will my interview go ahead and when will they be happening? We're actually interviewing now for places on the courses, and we're doing those through telephone interviews. So if you are interested on coming onto one of our courses, then please apply soon. You know, we obviously, as all courses, we have limited numbers of places, and you know, it's important that if you are interested that you get the opportunity to go for a place on the course. So if you are interested, then you please apply through the website, and you will then be offered an interview, and one of us will be contacting you then through phone. At the moment, that's how we're interviewing people at the moment. So it will be one of the team, it will be one of us, or our other colleagues that work with us as well. Okay, let's just move down.
Can I talk about the pandemic work experience, Nick?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
Okay.
That's just
no, I don't mind at all.
Yes.
Currently, the government have not closed down early years settings. So all early years settings that want to remain open, unless they're situated within a gym. We've got a setting that we use that is situated within a gym. Now that has had to close. But other than that, all our settings are open as normal. Currently, the students were given the option whether or not they would like to continue to go into placement. A lot of students have continued to go into placement, and this is very much dependent on their home circumstances, whether they need to shield for family members or not. I haven't had many settings this time that have said they don't want students because of the pandemic. They're quite keen to have students because currently the students are working from home. But hopefully when you start in September, we'll be back to some sort of normality because the vaccine's currently getting rolled out. So we think very much that by September, it will be full steam ahead with placements. That's what we're working towards. And currently the government have not closed the early year settings. So I think I have currently 2 settings that said that they don't want students at the moment during this current lockdown. But that is all. So the rest of them were able to have the students if they were able to continue to go in. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Angela. Somebody's put in there, how will I know where my classes are on my first day? So we give you timetables, so you'll have a timetable given to you. Usually when we do an induction, we give you a chance to have a walk round and look at the college, so you've got a map of the college and you get to know where you're going. So we like to try and do that. And then obviously, you know, you've got your timetable, so you get to meet your group and you will then know exactly where you're going. So I know it's all a bit daunting when you first start, and to you when you first start, the college must seem huge, but honestly, once you get to know it, it's not really that big at all, and you'll soon find your way round. Interesting question there. I'm doing a level 2 child development course at school, and what if I don't get my 4 or 5 in English or maths? Will this stop me starting at level 3? The one thing that I desperately need for you to have to come onto a level 3 national diploma would definitely be your English.
Really for the level 2?
Yes, yeah, and for your level 2. So even if you've done your level 2, we really do need those grades in your maths and English.
Because the level 2 child development is slightly different from doing the overall course. Yeah, it's a great starter, and it will really give you a good step up. But the thing is, what you need to try and focus on is the long term, that you need to be employable at the end. So we want you to leave us with your English and preferably your maths. So we need to give you time to do that.
Yeah.
So that's the reason.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, as we said, it's very good that you're doing that, but we do need to stick to that to be able to help you move forward, really. So just try really hard to get those grades, and it's challenging for some people, but try really, think about your future and focus and try really hard to get them, and then we can assess it at the time as on an individual basis. Okay, so I've got a question there. Which course would you recommend to become a paediatric nurse? So actually you need to go down the health route for that. So you need the health and social care sector for that, not the childcare. Paediatric nursing, you really need your sciences for. It's really important that you have those sciences for that. So if you're thinking about being a paediatric nurse, you need to go down that route, really. It's quite difficult to get onto a nursing course from an early years studies course. So I would definitely say go down the health science, that route, for a course for paediatric nursing, definitely. Yeah, we've got Maddie's replying there. She will give you some advice on that. So if I was going to do a level 3 course, what could I do after that? Okay, so after your level 3, as we said, it goes into all different sectors in the education sector. So you could go on to become go on to do your degree to be speech and language therapist, or you could go on to train to be a teacher, an early years teacher, or you could go on to be a practitioner. So from a level 3, once you've got your license to practice, you would be able to go out and practice as a level 3 practitioner in an early years setting, or you could be a TA in a school, so a teaching assistant in a school. That's another option there.
There are so many things out there that you probably aren't even aware of, and when you do the courses, it will open up your mind to things that you might not have considered. I've had level 3s go on and work alongside health visitors. I've had that, they've been assistants in that. Play workers in hospitals, they are very hard to get. I think the play worker at the hospital has been there about in Bury St Edmunds has been there about 20 odd years. But it's not an impossibility. Play workers and nannies. Well, I've had a student leave me and go on to the Norland College of Nannying. So there are so many jobs out there you're probably not even aware. But obviously there's the usual ones that most students go on to, working in nurseries.
Yeah, and this year, some of our second years, I've got one going on to do social work. We have psychology, which is another one, child psychology.
It really does open doors up, doesn't it?
Many doors, yeah. So if you go down that national extended route, you're opening lots of different doors if you're not quite sure. And the T level as well. So it's giving you that higher level qualification to open the door to university, to take you on to all those other things that are out there, really. Okay. All right, we've got about the interviews. When will the interviews go ahead? So interviews are going ahead now on the phone. So your interviews are being booked in. So once you have registered, then your interview will be organised for you. Maddie has replied to that. Somebody's saying here, I've applied for college, but I would preferably do an apprenticeship. Where's the best place to look?
Maddie's come back with a link.
Maddie's replied that.
Yeah, yep. Brilliant. So we've got a link there for you.
How
many
do the
hours
next
in
one?
The work setting? Yes, please. Thank you, Angela.
Okay, this is for T-levels. T-levels is the same as the level 3s. You would cover the 3 different age ranges. I'll recap those in case you didn't hear before. You would do a placement working with under 2s. You do a placement working with children between the ages of 2 and 5, and you do a placement in a primary school working with children between the ages of 5 and 7 years 11 months. So you would scan all the age ranges up to 8, and it would be in at least 2 settings, but it could be in 3 settings. And the hours are the same for the T levels as for level 3. It's a minimum hours of 750, and this works out at 2 days a week. An average of 6 to 7 hours a day in each placement. Some settings will be open for a bit longer. If you go into a preschool, you might only get 6 hours there, but some nursery settings you may do a 7-hour day. We'll also slot in a few block weeks. You might have a block week before Easter, a block week before Christmas, and when you go into your second year, you would do 2 block weeks at the beginning of September. And by block week, what I mean is you would be in your work placements every day, Monday to Friday, and not come into college when you're doing a block week. And you don't get paid for your work placement. That's another thing I'd just like to bring attention to. It's a mandatory part of your course, so there would be no payment for your work experience. But we'd be looking at 2 hours a day for every week for both years if you're doing a level 3 or a T levels.
Thank you, Angela. So the other question is, if I got 3 or below in either maths or English, will this affect work experience?
Well, you'll probably be on the level 1.
Yeah, so if you did get your a 3 or below, we'd put you on the level 1, and the level 1 doesn't have a work placement attached to that, but you would have some experience that you'd be involved in, so some work type of experience, but not an actual set placement. So that's something that's being organised at the moment. So you'll do some sort of like charity work and things like that to as an experience for that. So okay. But to come on to the other levels, obviously we need that above 3. Just that other one, Angela, do you mind taking that one about the dress code?
Of course. Now with your placements, there is a dress code. We ask you to buy a t-shirt that will it's from Western College, and it will identify you as an early years student, and we would like you to wear this at all of your placements. Now in nurseries and preschool, they are a little bit more relaxed about piercings, but primary schools are a little bit stricter. Some primary schools will actually ask you to take your piercings out. They'll let you have little stud earrings, but if you've got nose studs, eyebrow studs, lip studs, many primary schools have a dress code. They don't allow staff to have this, and they will give you an option of either taking them out, or they'll give you a nice blue plaster and let you cover them up. I do find that nurseries are a little bit more relaxed about this, but very often the primary schools do enforce this. Now with your hair, I will cover a lot of this. I'll do a lot of preparation for placement before you start placement, so you don't need to worry about not knowing what's expected. But what we say is we'd like you to have your hair tied back and off your face for all your placements. Now this has an effect of you don't transmit any head lice. It also helps to prevent hair falling into food if you're helping serve food, but it also keeps your face clear so that the children can see your face. Some children will be non-verbal, so they'll pick up their clues and cues from you. So we do have a policy, a college policy, that we like you to have your hair tied back and off your face and not dangling down, so it's not dangling down into the children's faces. It's just professional, really. But it very much depends on the setting. Some are stricter than others, but as a college, we ask you not to have your hair dangling down. But piercings, we're a little bit more relaxed, but you have to follow your individual settings, what guidelines they have.
Okay, so thank you very much for joining us this evening. You know, we look forward to you joining us on our courses. So work really hard
in person,
at your GCSEs. Yes, in person. You know, we're a great team, and we you know, we really enjoy working with our students, and we really look forward to you joining us at West Suffolk College. It's a starting point for your career. So if you want to go into the early years sector, or as we've said, lots of different opportunities out there, if you want to work with children in some shape or form, you definitely are coming to the right place to do that. So we look forward to meeting you. Thank you very much for your questions this evening.
That last question, that no, there isn't a specific, there's no specific uniform for college days. Oh, within reason, yeah. You can come how you want.
Yes, yeah.
But we do expect you to be respectable. Yes. And
no college, yeah. No t-shirts for that. Not ones that Angela's saying about. Not the college.
Impress.
You can wear your own things. Yeah. Yes. So, all right, lovely. Yeah. Thank you very much. So I don't think there's any more questions.
I've applied for the level 3, but unsure if I will get my maths. Do I need to apply? No, you don't need to apply again. Once you get your qualification results, there will be lots of movement, and we'll put you on the right one when you know exactly what you get. So as long as you apply for a childcare course, we'll put you where you need to go when you find out your results. So don't worry about applying again.
We'll guide you. Thank you very much.
Okay. See you in September.
Have a nice evening. Bye-bye. Bye.